Welcome to this video. I'm Narendra Verma and I'm going to show you how you can develop tab-based Android application using Android Studio. So before going to implementation part of it, I would like to just uh, walk you through about how you can imagine your application. So this will be my application. Once we develop it out, we will see the two different tabs called add transaction and the transaction list. With the help of this add transaction tab, you can add your different fields. Click on this button and this particular transaction should be added to a transaction list. And if you click on this transaction list tab, you should see the different list or added transactions. Along with, if you click any of the transaction, you will see the complete information of added transaction. So this is how our application should look like. Now let us go to the actual implementation part of it. So before going to this part, how many steps you have to perform? There are actually 4 steps. First, you just need to create the project in the Android. Second is creating the layouts called XMLs. Third is creating the activities, that means Java activity you want to create. Third one is just running the project once you prepared it out. So I will quickly go to the different layouts that we are going to create. So the very first one is tab.xml. So if you go to the tab.xml, and let me also show you how this tab.xml can be created by dragging and dropping out all the elements. So if I just go here, this is initializing rendering the library. That means it will show you the complete view of that XML. So this is showing the tab based element. This one is the tab based application. I have dragged out here, and this is actually reflecting the bar or where we want to show the two different tabs. If you see this XML, this will look like this. So you need to add this tab host. So this tab host having a tab bar that will represent a tab bar, and in the dynamically in code itself we will add the two different tabs. Now this is your tab bar completed as part of your layout. Second is add transaction XML. So if I just go to the add transaction XML, you will see we have I have added different elements called, you can see this is label, this is transaction text box, all these are text boxes, and this is the button. So to just draw these all elements, what you have to do, you have to click here and drag and drop here. Also you need to change the properties of this layout. So for example, I want to show this transaction name as a hint. So if you see here, there is a hint. This particular property represents a hint. So you can see this hint part of it here. The same thing for different text. Apart from this add transaction, this is also a button. So you can put pretty much set all the different properties, whatever the color you want, whatever the label you want, what size you want, everything should be set it here only. Once you've done everything, you can go to this text XML file and you will see all these properties that you have set actually pre-populated or generated in terms of the XML. So add transaction view is now applicable to be used. And the third one is the list transactions tab. So if I just see the list transactions, what I did in the list transaction tab, you will see there is a list view. So how basically I dragged it out, this one list is view, and once you drag here you will see this list view. So we are going to add multiple items in this list view. The text file looks like this. Here is the list view of it. So the second major part you have already done, that is the creating the layout. Now you need to create the activities. So the activities means very first activity, what activity you should perform. First one is the tab bar. So in this tab bar, it extends the tab activity. That means with the help of this tab bar, you are going to say how many tabs you will be adding. So with the help of this code, there are different interfaces that I used, and with the help of these interfaces you are saying I want to add the add transaction as a first tab, transaction list as a second tab. And the main part of this is that set content view. Whenever this activity is loaded or on creating of that activity, what content view you should be setting. So this is the content view that should be set it out. if I just click here, you will see the same tab.xml is open. That means this is representing a tab bar. So first activity will be representing a tab bar having the different tabs called this. Now what should be the content on the add transaction and on the add transaction list? So for the same, I have created the two different activities called add transaction tab and transaction tab list. So these two are representing two different tabs. Let me go to add transaction tab here. Okay, this add transaction tab extends the activity. Again we have the set content view called r.layout.add transactions tab. If I go here, this will again represent your XML or your design layout that you have created for adding the multiple edit text boxes. Now let's go to this add transaction and see how basically we are fetching the different values. So in that add transaction tab we have multiple elements where you can just find view by ID, and this will be a edit text. This is the edit text instance. So we are getting all the edit text instance based on the IDs. So this ID is nothing but it's represented as part of your values. So these are the text IDs or layout IDs where we are using to get the edit text instance for it. If you just see it, transaction name, and let me go to this add transaction tab. Here is the designer. So if you go to this transaction name, where is this ID is located? So this txt transaction name is actually the ID which is represented over there. The same thing for all the IDs. So if you go to this transaction, we will get this edit text instance. Now once you get all the IDs and their references, you will go to this add button. The same way you are getting the button instance. Now we want to perform the operation based on the add button click. So here is the code for the operation. If I click on the add button, what should I perform? So this is the just transaction object. If you just see here, the transaction object is nothing but it contains the different fields values like transaction name, text, date, amount, pay, transaction detail, etc. So once we have this transaction available, now we can create the object of transaction and get text and to string. It will give the value that is filled on this particular edit text box. The same thing for other fields as well. You just need to add this transaction in the transaction list and print whatever you want to print. Now show the confirmation message whether you have added successfully or not. So this is the code where you want to perform the on-click operations once your transaction is added. So this is pretty much done for this add transaction tab. Now go to this transaction list, how you will populate your transaction list. So on the transaction list activity, we will be setting view based on if transaction list is empty and you want to show the text view that there is no transaction added yet. If you have transaction list items available, then you are going to show the transaction list tab. You just see this, whatever the list view we have added, it will show the same transaction view based on this transaction tab, list transaction tab. Now this is the code where you are getting the view, a list view object, and you are adding the array of the transactions list into this list view. See, we have to create this adapter. So if you see this class, I have pretty much written the comments here, whatever the steps you need to perform to show to add list items into this list view. And this is the list view.set on item click listener. Remember I told whenever you click on the item of the list, you should see the information whatever the transactions are available. So the same code is written for this one. Now this is pretty much done about your classes, your layout, and your project is now ready to run. When I click here, you will see your emulator is added, or when you will be asked to perform whatever the transaction you want to run. So currently I have configured my AVD here to run this one. When I click here, I can see this is opened. Now unlock it out and see this actual application is looking like this. So let me add couple of values here. whatever this is, like 20 and 2014, and this is amount, this I would say P1, and this is the transaction detail TD1. Once you edit transaction successfully. If you go here, you will see this transaction is added now, and if you click here, you will see the detail here. So this is pretty much done. If you want to get more detail on the different tabs, you can refer my blog that I have written here, N-Verma Tech blog, and this contains the complete step how to create all these files and what files are there. You will see each and everything in this blog itself. Now the third up, we have completed this run project step as well, but I would like to add one more thing. I have downloaded this application in my mobile itself, and whenever I run it out, I will see this as running in my mobile as well. So see this one, I just install it. This NV expense book is installing. Once it is installed, we just will see the same application that we have seen on the emulator, and how it will works on mobile. I'm going to show this one. Yeah, so you can see here in the mobile how this application is looking like. Let's try to add whatever the items you want to add. So a couple of items are being added, or the text is added. Once everything is added, you just need to click on the add transaction button. So I'm just putting any dummy data just to show you how this is working. So yep, it's working now. Now we have to click on the add transaction. This message is coming as we have seen in the emulator. Go to this transaction list, see this transaction view. So we are getting each and everything working properly on the mobile as well. So that is it from my side. I hope this will help you out. Thanks a lot for listening.